Hey guys, it's Seth. I want to show you something that I got yesterday. I ended up getting in the van and going about 3 hours one way to the other side of the state to get some seats that I found on Craigslist, and here they are. The guy had these on Craigslist for $100. They came with the table. My brother's got the table, but he didn't have all the bolts and the hardware for it, so he felt bad for me driving out there all the way, and he said he'd just give them to me for free. But I didn't feel like leaving there without paying him, so I gave him 20 bucks, and I got these seats. So they came out of a '78 Ford Econoline, and it's kind of a sad story. The guy, he had the '78 Econoline, and he said it was all tricked out, had the carpet, the rainbow colored carpet everywhere, shag, and he ripped it out and made a cargo van out of it, just made a work van. So kind of makes me sick. I would have liked to have seen the van. Maybe it was all rusted out, I don't know, but it would have been nice to have the whole van. But anyways, I got the seats out of it, and they're nice little, they're plush seats. The back is vinyl, and they've got this little pouch here, and they're a little darker. The brown is a little darker than my seats that are in the van right now. But they also have these swivel bases, and these are the bolts that he was missing. This plate here goes on top here with this little, you see how I got a bolt there? I've got a bolt and a roller bearing. They're not tight right now, but basically this here, remember how it goes. You push this forward and they swivel. So I've got to figure out how to get them in the van. These bolts are welded in here, and I haven't measured everything out, but I think the bolt pattern is the same as my seats. They look to be the same. They might be off a little bit, but what I want to do is take those bolts out and drill those holes out the same size of the floor, the bolts for the floor in the van, because the van has threaded holes. If I take the 4 bolts out of the seats I have now, I can just put the same bolts back in. So that's my plan anyways. The only other thing I have to figure out is inside the van here, I've got some jugs in here for water storage, but I'm gonna lose that storage space with those seats, but I think having the swivel seats will be beneficial. So I'm going to take these bolts out here, and I've got to figure out how to mount the seatbelt bracket. Not sure how I'm going to do that, but I've got to figure out a way to mount that on there. It shouldn't be too hard. I've just got to figure out where to get it where it would look right and not look out of place, and be strong enough in case I had to slam on the brakes that the seatbelt would do its job. So that's my task for today. I'm going to try to get this knocked out, and I'll keep you updated. Alright, well, I've got the seat out, and I've got the bracket sitting here, and you can see these bolts, like I said, they're welded in, but you can see where the bolts go in here, and they seem to line up. That back one might be a little off. I don't know, it might be right, but they look like they're going to work, so I've got to grind those welds off and put those bolts in. But one thing I'm going to have to do to these, after I get everything fabbed up and figured out, they've got some like double-sided tape and stuff here, and then there's some fuzz and glue from where they had carpet on them, so I've got to get all that scraped off of there and paint them up real nice so they're not ugly and dirty. So, but I think that's how they go. They're offset a little that way, and this is lined up with the center of the steering wheel, so I think that's how it goes. I think the other mount goes on the other side. I am going to have to figure out what to do with the seat belt here. I didn't realize that, sorry, I'm putting this camera everywhere. I didn't realize that this part of the seat belt was bolted to that seat base there, so I might have to come up with something, even if I have to weld a bracket here and put a hole in it to put that there. So my brother's a good welder. He built the roof rack, so he should be able to figure out something to do there if I end up having go that route, have something welded. But my main focus is just getting them in for now and seeing if they fit and if they swivel and they don't rub, and then we'll figure out how to do the seat belts. Well, I was able to get this bolted in, and you can see here I've just got 2 of the bolts in, and then this one's loose and that one I didn't put in, but it does line up. Here's this right here was for the seat belt, but it never really worked. I guess it's a light on the dash tells you if your seat belt's on or off. It never worked, but that's there. This is what I've got to figure out. You can see this right here. I've got to come up with a bracket. I'll probably find some kind of L bracket here to put this bolt to. I'll just have to bolt that in there, and then, but everything else, here's the slider. It slides back and forth. Everything's just a little loose because I don't have all the nuts on there. I've just got one here and then one on the back side there. But with this seat all the way forward, you can kick that there, and I can swivel it either way. I can swivel it this way, or I can swivel it around. It'll go about that far. Alright guys, there we go, swivel seat. They're pretty comfortable actually. Once I get that other bolt, I'm just waiting on a couple bolts for the other side there, and everything will be good to go. That seat I don't guess really has to swivel. There's not going to be much use in it swiveling. I could swivel it this way and kind of face this way, but it won't swivel all the way because that cabinet's there. One other thing about these seats, these armrests, they don't lift up, so you do have to swivel it a little bit to get out of the van, unless you tilt the wheel up all the way, but I guess it works. They're pretty comfortable. I cleaned them up real good today. I just scrubbed them with some upholstery cleaner, and I think they turned out nice. Here you go. That's a vintage seat. These came out of a 75 or 76, something like somewhere in the 70s. It was a Ford van. I'm just happy everything matched up like they did. The whole pattern was the same. Just had to do a little bit of work to them, but they work. Well, here's the final install. Everything is complete and done. It's dark outside, and I'm ready to go to bed. But here they are. I think they look better than what was in there. I like that vintage, retro look. It makes the van look like an old hippie boogie van. But there they are. I painted the pedestals flat black. I've got the brackets done. The seat belt bracket here, they work. You can tilt them down and then swing the chair. That's what I was needing them to do. That way they'll work. But they're in, they work, so I'm happy how the project turned out. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. I think it really makes that van look good. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Just check on Craigslist for stuff. You run into things sometimes, just random things. Sean found these, my brother. I don't know what he was looking for on Craigslist, if he was looking for seats or just looking at van stuff, but I'm glad he found them, and I'm glad he was able to go with me to get them because I like how they turned out. So y'all have a good night, and thanks for watching.